What is up, mental patients? My name is Tormental, here with a sneak peek at Camp Cadaver. Camp Cadaver is a browser-based role-guessing murder game, basically like Mafia or Werewolf, the party games, or, like if you want to be a little bit technical, like a little bit like Town of Salem. Maybe a little bit, like Town of Salem, but, better. Because it doesn't have as much fuckery going on. Doesn't have a bunch of bullshit going on. But yeah, we've got some stuff in this game that I think fix some issues with things that people have been complaining about in Town of Salem and so on and so forth. But really, this is sort of going back to the roots of the party games. It's not a direct rip of Town of Salem. It's more like, what if Town of Salem had actually, cared about what they were doing? That's sort of like an alternate reality. But yeah, what I'm going to do in this video is show you some of the, I guess, new roles that we're adding to the game. As you can see, we've got 48 roles. 48 roles in this game. Town of Salem, I think, has 33. And they, whenever anybody talks about adding roles, they always say, oh gosh, it just takes so much time. Oh, it takes so much time to add roles. I think they've added 4 roles in, 4 years? 3 or 4 years? And, we've got about coming up on 50 roles that were put into this game. Within the span of time, they've done nothing. So, yeah, a little bit of a jab there. But yeah, I just wanted to show you some of the roles that we'll be adding to the game. As you can see, Camp Cadaver is themed after like a 1980s slasher movie. So, instead of the vigilante, we have the rebel. Instead of the doctor, we have the lifeguard. The veteran is now a loner. Different things like that. Basically describing like either high school students or, camp characters. Like the sheriff is now the counselor. I was looking for it on the list. Like a camp counselor. Things like that. So, it's based on, like the tropes from the old cheesy slasher movies. So yeah, let's look at some of our new roles. I'm going to look at maybe 4 roles that are new to this game, Camp Cadaver, that are things that you haven't seen before. So let's look at, what do we want to look at here? Let's look at the new kid. The new kid is a bystander, which is our version of like the neutral, benign, type characters. Bystanders, they just kind of stand by. And as you can see over here is the description. You select 1 living player at night, and you steal their role. So you're alive, your target is alive, you're both alive. You select them at night, and you get their role, and they become a slacker. Now, what is a slacker, you ask? A slacker is our version of the survivor. So you're a neutral benign, and you basically trade roles with someone else, except they become a slacker instead of the new kid like you were. So let's say that the, class president, which is our version of the mayor. Let's say the class president has revealed himself and he's doing a bad job. He doesn't know what he's fucking doing. He's picking the wrong people. He's being a troll, whatever it is. So as the new kid, at night you could select the class president and you could steal his role. Meaning you now would become class president and he would be transformed into a slacker. So you say. This is sort of like the amnesiac. Which in our game is called the Airhead, high school themed, camp themed, teenager type things. So yeah, I mean basically it's a way to not only maybe take over the role of someone who's doing a bad job, but maybe you want to use it for strategy. You think somebody is the evil character that you want to be, and you decide, I'm going to take their role, and I'm going to be the evil character, because I want to do that. I want to be the bad guy. I think that's much more fun. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to use it for, you just basically steal somebody's role at night. Next up, we've got the vegan. The vegan is a fun role. What does the vegan do, you ask? The vegan selects 1 player at night to tell them that they're a vegan. That's right. The vegan is a hero support role whose only ability is to tell everyone that they're a vegan. I mean, how much more straightforward can it be? The way this would be useful, of course, is, you're the vegan, and you know who like the class president is, or someone, who someone good is. So at night you select that person and you tell that good player that you're the vegan, and they know for sure, okay, you're a good guy. You're 100% cleared. You've cleared yourself. Admittedly, this is more of a humor-based role. It's put in there for fun. Maybe get some laughs, have some interesting interactions with people, so on and so forth. But, there is some strategy to it. You don't want to tell a bad guy that you're the vegan, because then you'll just basically be telling the bad guy, hey, here's a town member, here's a hero, and yeah. So that's something we did. Now an interesting one, the Strangler. The Strangler is a psycho, which is our version of neutral killing. The psychos are all the guys who are like solo killers. As you may have noticed, heroes are our version of the town members. The protagonists of our stories, the good guys. But the psychos are the bad bunch, and the Strangler is no different. Strangler can select one person to kill each night, sort of like a serial killer, which in our game is called the Slasher. You select one person to murder each night, but you don't automatically kill role blockers. You don't, have any of those extra powers that like the Slasher/serial killer would have. Instead, what happens is you get a trade-off. Your power is that if you kill somebody at night, anyone who visited your victim will be silenced the next day, which means like being blackmailed. So you've basically strangled them, you choked them, they can't speak. That means that if the lookout, which we call the chaperone, if the chaperone is watching your victim and sees you visit them, they're not going to be able to say the next day. They're not going to be able to talk. If the lifeguard saves the life of your victim, they're not going to be able to talk the next day and say that they saved them. So, it's basically like your average solo killing role, but with the added benefit that nobody can testify about you the next day. After that day is over, of course, they can say whatever they want. They're not going to be silenced anymore. So, if you kill somebody and you see the next day that someone is silenced and they're trying to talk but they can't or whatever, you might say, that person might know some information about me. I better kill them too, So yeah, it's a bit of a strategy thing, sort of watching who's silenced, if anybody does signal that they're silenced, so on and so forth. I think it's a fun role. I think it adds a new aspect to the gameplay of, people not being able to right away say the next day, I saw the Strangler kill the victim, and, it's this player. Instead they would be like, damn, I gotta wait till the next day to say anything. Oh, this is frustrating me. Blah, I'm a dumbass. I'm a bastard. Last but not least on our list here, I don't know, which one do we want to look at here? Let's look at the Snitch. Let's look at the Snitch. The Snitch is an interesting one. The Snitch is another bystander, or neutral benign. The Snitch can see the exact role of up to 3 players. So think about it. This is a unaligned, neutral character, just a neutral benign bystander, who can see the exact role of up to 3 players. That means that he'll be able to check out, who people are. He'll be able to see a few roles and decide who he wants to align himself with. If you're the Snitch, maybe on night 1 you check somebody and you see that they're a hero. They're a good guy. Then the next night you check someone else and you see that they're a villain. They're a bad guy. So then you kind of decide to yourself, let's see, do I want to side with the heroes or the villains? Because you could just message the villain and say, hey, this first guy, I know his role, it's this. Or, maybe you want to message the hero. Maybe you want to message the good guy and say, hey, I found a villain for you. I'm the Snitch, So you may probably want to just keep your mouth shut in most instances for a while, at least to see, how things go before you play your hand. But yeah, I mean, you can ally with anybody, so, it's a pretty interesting thing. It's sort of like a consigliere from Town of Salem, but we call that the stalker, because they stalk people and see what their roles are. It's sort of like the consigliere or stalker, except that you're not aligned with anybody, and you have like limited usage of your powers. You can only see up to 3 people's roles, and if the people you check die, I mean, you're going to be shit out of luck. So yeah, align with anybody, give them their information, rat people out, or, maybe hold information hostage. Like say, I know who the bad guy is. but, I want to make sure that I get an agreement that I'm going to be protected, that type of thing. Because you're the snitch. You just do what's good for you. And yeah, that's 4 roles that are going to be in Camp Cadaver. Yeah, look for it soonish, I hope. We're kind of finalizing the, certain things about the game to make it playable for, like, an early alpha test. Probably won't put up any videos of, like, the very early testing, because we're just going to be doing shit like starting a round, seeing if a roll works, ending the round, starting a new round, seeing if those rolls work, ending that round. But once it gets to, things that are kind of interesting to watch, I'll probably try to put up some videos, some early videos of that. But yeah, stay tuned. Don't change the channel. Don't play Town of Salem.